When you think of custom engraved bats, you might think of these little things. But in the store behind me, it's really a different ballpark. It's like the major leagues versus a rookie league. Let's go in and talk to the owner, Johnny S., about his business. Oh, and if you're wondering what this has to do with global forces in Northeast Ohio, wait till you hear his story. It was about a container ship full of wood in Japan and an opportunity to bring the wood back here and make custom engraved bats. It's all about how we reshape and resize the world in the global marketplace.
We had a fellow of mine that I did a lot of shipping with over the years, and one thing led to another. He got into a little bit of a financial pinch there, and when things were really at a crossroad, the emerald ash borer was terrorizing Michigan, and any woods that were caught on the water at that time that weren't properly documented with their being kiln dried. I acquired the wood, and at that point said, now what am I going to do? Because I was really just making I was buying $100 every 3 or 4 months from him, and then the next thing you know, I've got 15,000. Yeah, it's a Jack and the Beanstalk type story, but it's one of those deals too that I love telling it to the younger kids that come in all the time, and they're looking at it like there's opportunity around us. There's all around us, and you're just looking for the thoughtful eye that catches it and says, hey, what can I do with this?
Talk a little bit more about that sense of opportunity, because in a global marketplace, we look around and sometimes we think, oh, our jobs are being outsourced. Oh, we have too much competition. Oh, this person I'm talking to is in a different country, and we feel a threat. But you saw an opportunity. Why is that?
I think a lot of times what we do, everybody's so worried about how does it fit in to everything that we know, everything that we're comfortable with. And I think now, there's an old saying, I quote Franklin all the time, do great men make history, and history make great men. But we're at a time now where change is being imposed and pushed upon everybody. And the same amount of money basically in the system, but it circles differently now. And being that we're all so used to getting something where it's been dummied down, cheap and cheap, and how do we make it cheaper? Everybody thinks that that's the way to go. And I can't tell you how many guys that come into the shop and say, hey, if you can do this, you could do that, and just faster, 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 when in fact, all I've ever done, I tag each bat individually. It's dated, and it's dated on the actual day that it was made and what number it is. And the reason I do that is because you just get the stuff I've made a year ago versus what it is now, even though it's state of the art and the greatest thing in the history of the world a year ago. Now today the quality's even better. That's a big push for me, and making this an individual thing, taking it from not trying to be to the masses. There's a lot of people that come in here and say, hey, I could do it for a lot less, but not getting what I'm making here. So
yeah, there's almost a philosophy, Johnny, that I'm hearing from you, and having spent some time in your store. It's a certain kind of almost Asian philosophy of being in the moment, being with where you are and what you're doing, as opposed to chasing the eternal buck. So tell me some of your personal story. I mean, you're here in the store, but did you have a business background when you were coming up?
No, not at all. I was in corporate America for 27 years, up until my 50th, it's been 1 year now, and loved it. I worked for a lot of great people, and great run at it. I mean, and it just, you get to that point in time, and particularly now, man, people are down. There's so many people who are just beaten down, and I just look at it that this is just such a great opportunity, great time to be alive. Thinking about one of the things that just sticks in the back of my mind is I just someday want my grandkids to look back and say, when did Grandpa start this? During the Great Depression. Because this is the time. This is the time to make a move, when people, if you shave that face in the mirror and you know what you're made of, and you say, hey, am I staying within my means, and everything, is this realistic? Is this something I love to do? And you work the numbers, and like I did, and everything else, and to jump, it wasn't even jump in. It was just enjoy the warm bath water and just keep going. It's been great since I started in the middle of what I know is very, very difficult times for so many people.
Yeah. So it's almost as if this is not a man cave, but kind of a man above the surface, and coming at his life that way.
If you look on both sides of the wall, we address the whole baseball thing, but really the vast majority of what's here has very little or nothing to do with baseball. It's getting a life story told on a bat. And you're watching guys who've, have been affluent, they're well-to-do men even, and the reaction of getting their life told on on a man club, a man stick, is just incredible.
It's like almost hieroglyphics.
It etches it, and I say it's not cast in stone, but it is etched in fossilized rock, kiln-dried wood. And I go, there's just such a love affair where guys see it. They see the colors I'm doing in this, and you know, I school people through it. How big is the guy? That's a issue. You don't give a 31-inch bat to a 6'5" guy. I taper that, the colors. It seems like all the times when I'm making a bat for an older gentleman, he's 50 and older, my age and older, they all want the oaks and natural stains, whereas the younger guys tend to get the brilliant reds and the blues and my pearl whites that are, you know, wedding gifts, the greatest wedding gifts. And but really what I felt in my heart of hearts, because I watched it over and over, was always just blown away with the reaction and then to see what came after, which that's a big piece of my business. Corporate America, guys come in and get their logos and their guy's signature and on this size bat. And then you watch them, I said, it's a big thing. You gotta come in here, you gotta pay me, and you gotta hug me. And that's how I know I did my job.
That's
and I just get it all the time. I live for it. It's to know that I'm gonna be on somebody's mantle for the next 50 years, or that's his, you know, I had one fella that was, you know, pried out of his limp and lifeless hand. You know, it's my Johnnyville slugger.
Well, like you said, you know, you give the customers the hug. Let me give them a hug.
The hug.